Babashuaib, the correctional officer, born in Accra, Ghana, a Quranic researcher and a critical thinker based on religion, who does online lectures based on the guidance of the Quran on platforms such as Facebook, YouTube and TikTok since 2018. In Finland, and 13 years, QBE, in Classical Arabic and MSA in Quranic Arabic. The author of the Refer to the Quran, which helps every novice to understand the steps towards understanding the great Quran and the guidance of God in it. Babashuaib, the correctional officer, born in Accra, Ghana, a Quranic researcher and a critical thinker based on religion, who does online lectures based on the guidance of the Quran on platforms such as Facebook, YouTube and TikTok since 2018. In Finland, and 13 years, QBE, in Classical Arabic and MSA in Quranic Arabic. The author of the Refer to the Quran, which helps every novice to understand the steps towards understanding the great Quran and the guidance of God in it. Babashuaib, the correctional officer, born in Accra, Ghana, a Quranic researcher and a critical thinker based on religion, who does online lectures based on the guidance of the Quran on platforms such as Facebook, YouTube and TikTok since 2018. In Finland, and 13 years, QBE, in Classical Arabic and MSA in Quranic Arabic. The author of the Refer to the Quran, which helps every novice to understand the steps towards understanding the great Quran and the guidance of God in it.
Moment you ask question, if he give reference from the Quran, he is correct. If he says, my sheikh said this, my sheikh said that, my imam said this, if the saying of the imam match with the Quran, we match with it. Moment you ask question, if he give reference from the Quran, he is correct. If he says, my sheikh said this, my sheikh said that, my imam said this, if the saying of the imam match with the Quran, we match with it. Moment you ask question, if he give reference from the Quran, he is correct. If he says, my sheikh said this, my sheikh said that, my imam said this, if the saying of the imam match with the Quran, we match with it. Moment you ask question, if he give reference from the Quran, he is correct. If he says, my sheikh said this, my sheikh said that, my imam said this, if the saying of the imam match with the Quran, we match with it.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you all. Thank you for coming. This is babashuaib, the correctional officer. You are welcome to my live stream. As you can see, the topic as you can see, the main topic yeah, the Sunnis call us Quranists. That's the topic, right? Peace be upon you all. Thank you all for coming. Let me give some shout outs. I'm streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, right? You will find me with the same name, babashuaib, or Bush2G9, or the correctional officer on all my platforms, right? Yeah, on all my platforms. So I'm streaming live. Let me see here. Yeah. So on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. So I'm streaming live on 4 platforms simultaneously, right? So thank you all for coming um, to my page. This is Correctional Officer. So let me give some shout outs to all those who are here. Let's start with Facebook, YouTube. We have Abdullah Abbas, peace be upon you. Tariq Ayub, Hassan Osbal, salam, peace, bro. We have SS, we have Forbade, we have Ibu, we have Kam K, that is Brother Kamal, I see you, peace to you. Abdullah Abbas, yes. Mohammed Ashari, Nara Power. Hey, Salis Jimmy, I see you. Nagan Kasa, salam to you. Curiously Inquisitive, I see you, peace. Rishi Green, brother, salam to you. Sister Zainab Kaiser, I see you. I see you. Quran Alone Dawa. Yes, I got your email concerning the inheritance and the will. I'll be doing. I've put it in my schedules. I'll be doing a topic on that. Perhaps before Ramadan or during Ramadan, God willing. I see Restless Native. Yes, peace to you. Muhammad Gaddafi Traore, I see you. I greet you too. Imran Khan, Oscar Sanya, Musa Arabago, Ahmed Asaf. I have a video on that. Ahmed Asaf. I have the video on that. Don Nuru, I see you. Salam to you, bro. Abdul Karim Swale, Abu Bakar Muhammad Tijani. Baba Sedu Nagan, peace to you, Baba Sedu. Raf, thank you all for coming. Those on Facebook and YouTube, I appreciate your presence. God bless you for coming. Innocent Big Waterfall, salam to you. Now, shout outs to those on TikTok. Let me see, did I miss anybody? I have Stone24. I have RD. Respect to you too. I have, is it Aldo? Yes, Aldo Salam. Sidasi, thank you for the gifts. I appreciate that. God bless you. Let me see. I have who? Kadi Muyangs. Kadi Muyangs, salam. Joy Olivia Stone. Yes, greetings. Sister Yuki, I see you. Salam. 7 layers. Salam to you. I see people I can't even see their names, but I appreciate your presence. Sida C, salam to you. Thank you all for coming. This is Correctional Officer. I have uniform Mike. Quran is light. Nazir Anesi, I see you. Salam to you. Yeah, Pure Honey, I see you. Salam. Salam to you all. I see Bandland. Yes, Bandland, I see you. Salam to you. Thank you all for coming. I can see the list is getting bigger. People are, patronizing, my live stream. I appreciate the support. God bless you. And it keeps me motivated to do more, right? To keep lecturing people more and more. I appreciate that. Thank you all for coming. Mohammed Wisdom Barry, Marcus Rogers. Thank you all. I appreciate that. God bless you all for being present, right? So I'm going to tackle some issues. Queen Na, thank you very much. Hey, Nasir, is it Nursila? Yeah, Nursila, I see you. Thank you for the gift. So I appreciate your presence. I'm going to tackle some misconception by the Sunnis, and at the same time I'll be playing videos from Farid response. For those who know Farid, I'll be playing a video from Farid. I think among the sectarians, he's one person I respect, right? Farid response. I respect him because we have had conversations more than 1 or 2 times, right? So, but I'll be doing a video because he said something which is a misconception, so I have to clear that out. Thank you, Forbed, for the gift. I appreciate that. Thank you. About code 19, hope it wonderful God will, and I hope you can join the submission server. Yeah, no problem. I think I have a video on that. I did a lecture on that already. So apart from Farid response, I'll be talking about Jake Brancatella, the guy who called himself the Muslim metaphysician. I'm going to show you some of his confusions as well, right? And and then from there we go to those with the heebie-jeebies. After that, after Farid response, Jake Brancatella, then we jump to those with the heebie-jeebies. When I say heebie-jeebies, you understand those sometimes those who totally don't have logic in their statements. Farid, you can find some logic in the things he say. Jake, somehow you can find some logic because he used to be a Christian. From Christian, he became a Quran alone. From Quran alone, he went to a Sunni. So for somewhat reason, you can find some logic in some of the things he says, but the rest are just the heebie-jeebie ones. So for now, let's start with those who are a bit clear conscious. So when I was starting this program, I played a video from Zakir Naik, right? Zakir Naik was talking about if somebody is saying, okay, let me repeat the video so that you get to know what he said.
The moment you ask question, if we give reference from the Quran, is correct. If he says my sheikh said this, my sheikh said that, my imam said this, if the saying of the imam match with the Quran, we match with it. The moment you ask question, if we give reference from the Quran, is correct. If he says my sheikh said this, my sheikh said that, my imam said this, if the saying of the imam match with the Quran, we match with it.
So you saw the words of wisdom this brother said, Zakir Naik, right? He said the moment you ask questions, if the person says my sheikh says this, my sheikh says that, my sheikh says that, don't take that serious. What you take it serious is when he says something from the Quran, then that is correct. And if the sheikh says something which matches with the Quran, then that is correct. So any other things these people are telling you, I think there's something we call conscious and subconscious. These people, they tell you the truth subconsciously, not consciously, subconsciously. Consciously, they will be telling you something else. Like Hadith, they will preach in Hadith, telling you cannot follow the Quran without the Hadith. Conscious wise, this is how they do. Subconsciously, they will be telling you the truth whilst they are talking to you, but they are not paying attention. Do you get the point? So you, the smart listener, just as God says in Quran chapter 39 verse 18, Allazina yastami'una al-qawla fayattabi'una ahsanahu. Those who listen to the word and follow the best of it or thereof. Ulaika allazina adahumullah wa ulaika hum ulul albab, right? So those are the ones whom God has guided, and those are the ones who possess intelligence. So intelligence is very, very important, right? And so this is why it is good for a person at a point of time, you have to check your intelligent quotient, like the quotient. Try to check it so that you know that your level of IQ. It will help you at a certain point of time in your life so that you know where you stand and where you can categorize yourself. Knowing yourself is very important. I have a motivational video or talk I did for over 30 minutes. I don't know if it's on my YouTube and other platforms. You can find it. Try to know yourself is very, very important, right? So that you know where you stand and where what your weakness are, what the weakness is, and what your strength is. Okay. So what happened is, like I said, I'll be tackling is salam, brother Maroon Khalif. I see you. You're welcome. So I'm going to deal with this aspect, right? And when you are listening to scholars, when you are listening to mainstreamers, streamers, content creators who used to talk, who have something to say about Islam or religion in general, it doesn't necessarily mean just because the person is saying something you believe. Just like babashuaib is saying something you believe. Does it? If I say something, does it resonate with you? If it resonates, don't just take it. Investigate it. Examine it. Then you can take it if you want. Because Quran chapter 18 verse 29 God says the truth is from your Lord. So whoever wills, let him believe. And whoever wills, let him disbelieve. But before you put your faith in something, make sure you investigate it. Put it to the test. Right? You understand? Try to understand it carefully before you put your faith therein. Do you get the point? Okay. So when you hear people speaking, especially learned people, don't just take what they say. You try to resonate with what they say. Try to investigate. Try to put it to the test. Try to see if there are contradictions to what they say. Right? And this is what I try my best to avoid: contradiction, to contradict myself directly. Right? I try to avoid. Unless people with shallow mind, just like we have the people with the shallow mind, the dumb people who think they can find contradictions in the Quran, I dare you, I say, face me and let's talk. But they are scared because I'm going to weigh your brain first. I'll put it on your brain on the scale to see if you're competent enough to even talk about the Quran or to find flaws in the Quran. Do you understand? Okay. So let's start with the video of the day. So this is my way I invite to Allah by perception, I and whoever follows me, and glory be to Allah, for I am not among the idolaters. That's mushriks. I'm not among them, right? So if you are a Sunni, be rest assured I'm not part of you. The Shia, Tijaniya, Ahmadiyya, Qadiriya, Sufiya, Wahhabiyya, I'm not part of you. I'm not part of you. But however, if you can say something logical, which is the truth, I can resonate with that. So I expect you to do the same. When I say something logical, please resonate. Let it resonate with you. Don't say because I follow the Quran, so I don't like this guy follows the Quran, so I don't like him. No, don't do that. Okay. So the video for today. Let's move on to the topic, right? Let's find Brother Farid here. Farid responds, where are you? Farid, where are you? Farid, are you there? Okay, here.
The Prophet, peace be upon him, did not teach anything outside the Quran. Imagine that for a second. All you had was the Quran. But for some odd reason, everyone, conflicting political groups, conflicting theological groups, they all follow the Hadith. Sunnis and Shias and Khawarij, yeah, the Umayyas, the Abbasis, everyone. So how can we explain that? Why wasn't there a pious group of Quranists in the first 2 centuries?
I think there's a problem, right, with the Sunnis or the mushriks, or I would say the sectarians. There's a problem with the way they follow certain things, right, or the way their perception. I have a short video which talks about perspective, right, to try to understand people's perspectives. Somebody like Farid, sometimes he does that. He can talk to people, right, just to see their perspective, right? But I think he's missing a point here, and let's help Farid out to see the point he's missing, right? Okay.
Imagine that the Prophet, peace be upon him, did not teach anything outside the Quran.
So he says, imagine the Prophet Muhammad did not teach anything outside the Quran. Imagine he did not teach anything. Now the question we should ask is that the other thing he has to teach, does it have to do with Islam? Because babashuaib, I teach my kids also. Sometimes I teach them things I don't teach my audience, right? Because my audience are following the guidance of God. So sometimes I will teach my kids certain aspect of life which has nothing to do with the Quran or guidance of God, right? So babashuaib, yes, I can teach other people some things that has nothing to do with faith. Do you get my point? So if you say the Prophet, are you trying to insinuate when it has to do with God? Do you understand? When it has to do with God, so let's assume the Prophet did not teach anything outside the Quran, because what actually made him a prophet? Is it not the Quran? No, what made the Prophet a prophet? Is it not the Quran? Okay, let's take the Quran out of Muhammad's life. Hypothetically, let's take it out of Muhammad's life. Then who is Muhammad? What does he become? No, tell me, what does he become again? If we take the Quran out of the equation, who is Muhammad? Will we be discussing Muhammad? The answer is no. Do you get my point? Thank you very much, brother Uniform Mike. I appreciate that. Do you get my point? So let's go back to the same reasoning Farid is using now. Farid is saying, let's assume the Prophet did not teach anything outside the Quran. So now let's see.
Imagine that for a second. All you had was the Quran.
Imagine that for a second, and all you had was the Quran.
But for some odd reason, everyone.
For some odd reason, Farid responds, jump into the majority. Everyone. Everyone. Now, let me show you the problem with the logic Farid is going to use.
Conflicting political groups.
Conflicting political groups. This is alarming. This is an alarm already. Conflicting political groups. Siyasa. Political groups. So he's going to tell you which political groups. Remember, Islam is not politics. No politics in Islam.
Conflicting theological groups.
Conflicting theological groups. Where did they come from? Now, where did they come from? Because if we have difference in understanding, what we need to do is to sit down at the table and discuss so that we see the differences and how to settle the differences. This is how you see loopholes in each other's point of view. Do you get my point? If I'm standing here and you are standing there, and the number 6 is written in between you and I will see it at 6. You will see it as what? 9. If you say you see 9, you're correct. If I tell you I see 6, I'm correct. But initially, what number was intended? That is the question you should ask. So initially, if we can go back to the main source, to initiate from the beginning and see how the writer or what the writer intended, then the argument will end. That is why God says in the Quran, listen, that is why God says in the Quran, فَإِن تَنَازَعْتُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ فَرُدُّوهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَالرَّسُولِ. Quran chapter 4 verse 59. Right? And if you dispute about anything, because it has to do with the religion, the deen. So anything which has to do with Islam, if you dispute about anything, then refer it to God and the messenger. Because whatever the messenger has to give you is coming from God pertaining to Islam. And I use the word Rasul, messenger, not prophet. Prophet has his own personal life as well. Remember Jacob when he advised his sons concerning entering different gates or doors? It is based on his own personal knowledge. It has nothing to do with his duty of messengership or prophethood. No. You understand? But Jacob was also a prophet. Do you get my point? But he advised his sons based on the knowledge he once has as a prophet. Based on his own personal opinion, he advised his sons to go through different doors. Do you get my point? Okay. Now, let's come back to this logic. Yes, salam, Sister Muslima, I see your message. Let's come to this logic this guy is going to use now. What they fail to realize is, in order to settle differences, I need to know your perspective and you need to know my perspective. Then after that, we look for the loopholes in the point of views, right? We look for loopholes. Loopholes need to be sealed. Now, how do we seal that? We have dialogues, we have debate, we have discussions. Do you get my point? So interactions, we have dialogues, debate. Now people will sit down, intellectuals will sit down and assess and see which one is a flawed argument. You get the point? So now, listen to what Farid is saying.
They all follow the Hadith.
Now, he based his own logic. He used his own logic to base the argument that these political groups, they all followed Hadith. And that's where the problem is. Do you see where the problem is? He says we should imagine that the Prophet only taught the Quran. Then all of a sudden, everyone, he used the word everyone, political groups, theological groups, they all followed Hadith. But in the contrary, Quran is telling you in Quran chapter 6, verse 116, وَإِن تُطِعْ أَكْثَرَ مَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ يُضِلُّوكَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ إِنْ يَتَّبِعُونَ إِلَّا ظَنًّا وَإِنْ هُمْ إِلَّا يَخْرُصُونَ. If you should obey most of those on earth, they will mislead you from the way of God. Do you know the reason why? Because they only follow assumption while they are only guessing. Yakhrusun, they only guess. There's nothing. There's conjecture. That's majority. And who is questioning us? God. And from which book? The book of God, the Quran. So I'll be helping Brother Farid to show you some of the problems sectarians, especially Sunnis, have. Let's go.
Sunnis and Shias and Khawarij.
Then he started mentioning the groups, the political groups. Sunnis, Shias, Khawarij.
Yeah. The Umayyads.
Umayyads, the Abbasids. Let's go.
The Abbasis. Everyone.
Everyone. So all of a sudden, Farid, you forgot that God is cautioning you concerning majority, and you, of all people, still looking at the majority to base your argument and say, oh, why are this group only saying we should follow the Quran, and yet look at the majority here, they are following Hadith books. So now I'm going to show you the loophole in the logic he used. Check.
Everyone. So how can we explain that?
So how can we explain that? Quran has already explained that to you. Don't look at the majority. Farid, I don't expect that from you. Don't look at the majority. That's a problem. This is what Quran cautioned you and I. Looking at the majority is a problem.
Why wasn't there a pious group of Quranists in the first two?
Now, this is where the flop argument comes. This is where the flawed argument comes. This is where the flopped argument comes. This is where the bogus claim comes in. Why wasn't there a group of pious Quranists? Why use the word Quranist? What religion is that? Which people are those? Hello? The last time I checked, there was no religion called Quranists. Which group is those? Are those? The last time I checked again, it is you, the Sunnis, calling people who follow the Quran alone Quranists. Yes. Do you get my point? It is you, just like the enemies of Jesus, they call the followers of Jesus, the disciples and the followers of Jesus, they call them Christians. Do you get the point? They follow the followers of Jesus. The enemies of Jesus call the followers of Jesus Christians. So Jesus never asked anybody to become a Christian. He never said, you are Christians. I call you Christians. Oh, I'm calling you to Christianity. I dare any Christian watching. Jesus never asked you to become a Christian. Jesus never brought any religion called Christianity. Neither did Jesus call himself a Christian. Neither was his disciples Christians. Do you get my point? So the enemies of Christians, they gave them the name Christian. So they also took up that name and called themselves, we are Christians. We are Christians. Just like Paul, who never met Jesus. He said he saw him in the dream. I wonder which of Jesus he saw, the black one or the white one. I don't know. Anyways, so Farid, your argument, you are trying to see how come we don't know of any pious Quranists. Now, before we use the word Quranists, the pious you mentioned, if they are pious and they are few, how do you expect their information to be popular? Because if it's popular, then they are not few anymore. Then it's majority. Do you understand? Do you get my point? Now, so Farid, using the word Quranist is a flawed argument. because we don't claim we are Quranists. You give us that name, those names, and then we take up those names in silence because we think we have told you several times we are not Quranists, but you are tagging us because we claim we follow the Quran. So I'm going to use Prophet Muhammad as the epitome of the yardstick here. And let's see if your logic will actually tolerate the Prophet being called Quranist. Hello? Let's see. Okay.
Centuries.
Okay, so Farid, let's check some verses in the Quran. Let's help you out as a brother. So first of all, I'm taking you to Quran chapter 45, verse 6 to verse 8. Quran chapter 45, verse 6 to verse 8. And I share the screen for those on Facebook and YouTube, and I think Instagram. You can see the page, but for those on TikTok, I apologize. You can only hear me reading it. So for now, I apologize for this due to this inconvenience. Maybe in the near future, we find a solution to this, right? Okay. So that is the verse on the screen. So for those watching, you can see the verse on the screen, right? So now, it says, Tilka ayatullahi natluha alayka bil haqq fabi ayyi hadisi ba'dallahi wa ayati yuminu. It says, these are the verses of God which we what? Recite to you in truth. So in which hadith? That is narration, discourse, right? Discussion. In which discourse? After God and his verses. Because the verses of God comes from God. So God and his verses, those verses are not just verses, because Bible also have verses. You go to other books, they have verses. Verses can be in a lot of scriptures. So God's verses are different from people's verses. Just like you go to the Bible, they have the words of Paul, the other people, the words of some saints, Peter, and so on. Those are their words. They are not the verses of God. So verses of God, when we say verses of God, verses that God has actually revealed to his prophets, and we can find them in the scriptures. So now, so in which hadith, after God and his verses, will they believe? Right? Will they believe? In which hadith? So meaning after God and his verses, we don't have room to believe in some people's opinions. What other people say, I don't care. Just like if I'm talking to a Christian and you are telling me what somebody says who is not a prophet of God, you are wasting your time. Whatever you are saying, it's like you're telling me somebody's point of view, opinion. I don't need that. Tell me what your prophet says. Do you get my point? Okay. So these are the verses of God which we recite to you in truth. So in which hadith, after God and his verses, will they believe? Okay. So the verse 7. وَيْلٌ لِكُلِّ أَفَّاكٍ أَثِيمٍ. Woe to every sinful liar. Every sinful liar. What lie is the person going to tell? Okay. يَسْمَعُ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِ ثُمَّ يُسِرُّ مُسْتَكْبِرًا كَأَنْ لَمْ يَسْمَعْهَا فَبَشِّرْهُ بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. So he says, who hears the verses of God? Listen carefully. Not Sahih Bukhari, not Sahih Muslim, not Jami at-Tirmizi, not Sunan an-Nasai, not Sunan Abi Dawud and so on. No, not those. They are not the verses of God. Who hears the verses of God being recited to him, then insists arrogantly as if he had not heard them, therefore announce to him of a painful punishment. You know them already, the mushriks. This is how they are. You mentioned the verse from the Quran. No, akhi. Where is the Asbabun Nuzul? Give me the Asbabun Nuzul. So they put the hadith over the Quran. And yet, Quran is the only hadith God has given us. In the Asdaq al-Hadith, Kitabullah. Is that not what the mushriks themselves tell you? They say, in the Asdaq al-Hadith, Kitabullah. Then they say what? Wa ahsan al-hadi, hadi Muhammad. This is what they tell you from their own book. Okay, let's not go to the ahsan al-hadi because Quran refutes that argument. But if you tell me in Asdaq al-Hadith Kitabullah, just like when I shared a short video of mine saying that come and see some of the Arabs. Oh my God. I was just laughing so hard. They think they are correcting you. You correct the correctional officer and you are standing far away. Come now, come face to face and come and correct me. Let's see. Let's see if you know the Arabic you're proud of. So in Nasdaq al-Hadith, Kitabullah, the most honest, the most truthful hadith is the book of God. So why will I waste my time with the garbage again when the truthful hadith is the book of God? Why will I be wasting my time with trash? And when I say trash, I mean it. It's garbage. Yes, there are worthless messages there. What do I need there for? The book telling you Moses was bathing outside and the stone ran away with his clothes, and he chased the stone and started slapping the stone. We say, why did you take my clothes? Why? He's slapping him. Why did you take my... Come on, what kind of comedy is this? This book. Therefore, announce to him of a painful punishment. Right? So now, first of all, Farid, I'm quoting this verse to you, and this verse is telling you, first of all, فَبِأَيِّ حَدِيثِ بَعْدَ اللَّهِ وَآيَاتِ يُؤْمِنُونَ. So if that is the case, and God has already told us in Quran chapter 4, verse 87, where he says, وَمَنْ أَصْدَقُ مِنَ اللَّهِ حَدِيثًا. And who is more truthful than God in hadith, narration, discourse, hadith? Who is more truthful? Who? Tell me, you tell me. Who? Sahih Bukhari is more truthful? When you guys foolishly, when we are talking to you guys, you always have to give hadith reference to say you are going to explain the Quran. So which one are you automatically telling us is superior? You're telling us the hadith is superior to the Quran. And yet, which of the two books did God call Mubin? He calls the Quran Mubin. Kitabun Mubin, Quran al-Mubin, chapter 27, verse 1. You ignore that. You give us the book which is not clear. The science and the mutawatir, the isnad of the hadith alone, if you have to follow, you go crazy. I'm serious. You look at the scholars who claim they are experts in hadith. Take Yasir Kadeh, for example. The guy who said the number of people 310 and something. And that guy is supposed to be a graduate. How can the number of people be 310 and something? Seriously, how? So I guess the other something, they half people. Anyways, so woman as the Kuminallahi Haditha. And who is more truthful than God in hadith? So they will start, you see the mushrik start telling you, oh, when we say hadith, we mean the actions, the sayings, the doings on the prophet. That is what we classify. Who defined that word for you? Hello, who defined it for you? Was it the prophet himself? Who defined that? That hadith means his actions, his sayings. Oh, I thought the Quran is the epitome of Arabic language. So if the Quran is the epitome of Arabic language, so you have another Arabic version which is better than that of the Quran, then the foolish mushriks will start, oh, when we say hadith, we mean the technical aspect, not the linguistical aspect, not the general aspect. We are talking about, hey, mushrikanga. Hey. Oh my God. Okay, let's go forward. So now I'm going to show you reasons why the Prophet Muhammad himself, if you want to tag we of his followers as Quranists, after showing this proof, I dare you, including you, Farid Respond, I dare you to refute these arguments. Yes, we have had discussion before, right? And I know you know my video, you watch my videos. So after giving this evidence, I dare you to refute this argument. So let's start. Quran chapter 50, verse 45. In the first place, the book God asked the prophet to warn the people with is the Quran. He never asked him to use anything but the Quran. He didn't say use the hadith or sunnah to warn the people. So number one, which book did God ask the prophet to use to warn the people by? So let's see. Quran chapter 50, verse 45. God says, Nanu alamu bima yakulun. We know what they say. Indeed, we know what they say, right? Then it says, Wama anta alayhim bijabbar. What did God say? You are not a dictator. When you say jabbar, somebody who's trying to be a tyrant over you, like dictator, right? Then God says what? فَذَكِّرْ بِالْقُرْآنِ مَنْ يَخَافُ وَإِيدٍ. So he says, so remind by the Quran whoever fears my threat. That is a warning. When we say wa'id, when we say wa'ada, it's like a promise, like but it's a warning at the same time. Then when we say wa'id, it's like a threat, even though it's a warning or promise, but it's like a threat. Okay, so God asked the prophet to use the Quran to warn the people by it. He didn't say use the Sunnah. Use the Sunnah to warn the people. No, God never said that. God says, فَذَكِّرْ بِالْقُرْآنِ مَنْ يَخَافُ وَهِيدٍ. Use the Quran to warn by it whoever fears my threats. So now the prophet was using the Quran to warn the people. Okay, let's see which book was inspired to the prophet to warn the people by. So again, Quran chapter 6 verse 19. In Quran chapter 6 verse 19, listen what he says. He says, وَأُوهِيَ إِلَيَّ هَذَا الْقُرْآنِ لِأُنْزِرَكُمْ بِهِ وَمَنْ بَلَغَ. Quran chapter 6 verse 19. He says, and that this Quran has been inspired to me in order to warn you people by it and whoever it may reach. And the Quran has reached us today. We have it. So the prophet was using it even in his time to warn the people with it, not any other book, no Sunnah. He was using the Quran to warn the people by it. Right? The same book, Quran chapter 50 verse 45, he was supposed to use the book to remind the people. فَذَكِّرْ بِالْقُرْآنِ مَنْ يَخَافُ وَإِيدٍ. Thank you very much. Uniform Mike, thank you for the gift. So now, the prophet was asked to use the Quran to remind. The prophet was asked to use the Quran to warn. Now, which book was the prophet asked to recite? Because when you go to Quran chapter 98, you read verse 2 to verse 3, it says, Rasulun min Allah yatulu sufan mutahhara fiha kutubun qayyima. So that is the Quran, right? So now let's go and check which book did God ask the prophet to recite. So now I take you to Quran chapter 27, verse 91 to 92. Now, when you go to Quran chapter 27, verse 91 to 92, in that verse, it says, وَأُمِرْتُ أَنْ أَكُونَ مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. And I have been commanded to be of the submitters, that is the Muslims. That is what the prophet was instructed to do. And he is saying it by himself. He says, وَأُمِرْتُ, I have been commanded to be of the what? Muslimin, not Ahli Sunnah, not Sunnis. Sunnis are mushriks, not Sunnis. Listen carefully. He was not instructed to be among the Sunnis. They are mushriks. Okay. Then verse 92. وَأَنْ أَتْلُوَ الْقُرْآنِ. And to recite the Quran, not to recite Quran and Sunnah. Listen carefully. He has been commanded to be among the Muslims and to recite the Quran. Obviously to who? To the believers, to the Muslims. So God is saying in Quran chapter 27 verse 91 to 92, he's telling Muhammad to say, وَأُمِرْتُ أَنْ أَكُونَ مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ وَأَنْ أَتْلُوَ الْقُرْآنِ, and that to recite the Quran. So the prophet was asked to recite the Quran. The prophet was asked to warn by the Quran. The prophet was asked to remind by the Quran. Is that not what babashuaib is doing? When I do my lectures, which book do I give you? Is it not the Quran I recite to you? I read it to you? Is it not the same Quran I warn you by it? Is it not the same Quran I remind you the verses of God by it? Which book do you want me to use? Some garbage books? Some Persians read for you? Persians, not even Arabs. Persians wrote those books for you. You want me to use that? Abba. How can I be eating garbage food when I have fresh food in front of me? Why will I do that? So, ladies and gentlemen, I gave you these verses to show you consistently what the prophet was instructed to use for the people or to the people. God never asked him to use yes, somebody says Harry Potter books. Exactly. Well, you want me to use Harry Potter books to warn the people or remind the people? No. No. Okay. So Farid, if you are watching, I started with فَبِأَيِّ حَدِيثِ بَعْدَ اللَّهِ وَآيَاتِهِ يُؤْمِنُونَ. So after God and his verses, we don't need any other hadith. Okay, put those to the trash. Now we go to the Quran itself. Which book was the Quran, what the Prophet asked to warn the people by it? The Quran. Which book was he asked to recite? The Quran. Which book was he asked to remind the people? Where God says, "Fazakir inna fa'at zikra." Remind if the remembrance will benefit, right? So the Prophet used the book of God. Now, so if the Prophet in 3 categories he has to use the book of God, which is the Quran. Farid response: can we call the Prophet Quranist? Can we call him Quranist? Oh, Akhi, he will say the hikmah is the sunnah, right? Hikmah is sunnah. But we didn't see verses where God is saying he should use the sunnah or something to warn the people. No, Akhi, the Quran. Yeah, okay. Now let's leave the Quran, the fresh food. Let's leave it. Let's go to the garbage books and go and show them the evidence. Right? The fresh food is too fresh for them. Now I'm going to leave the fresh food, which is the Quran. I'm going to jump into the garbages. You know, sometimes it's good to go to the garbage to look for some recycling. Do you agree with me? So let's go to the trash. Let's do some recycling. So let's use their own books to prove to them that it is only the Quran the Prophet gave us, nothing else. The Quran is enough for us. We know. But let's go to the trash now. I'm going to the trash. So I'm going to prove to Farid how his argument is flawed. So I'm going to their trash books to show you something. First of all, when we go to Sahih Muslim, I'm going to put the verse. Let me put their hadith verse on the screen, right? You go to sunnah.com. If you go to sunnah.com, look for Sahih Muslim. If you look for Sahih Muslim, oh, sorry, let me do this. Yes. This is sunnah.com. Let me see if people can see it the way I'm seeing it. Right? I'm on sunnah.com. If you go to sunnah.com, go to Sahih Muslim. So I'm going to choose Sahih Muslim as you're watching on the screen. Unfortunately, for those on TikTok, you don't see it, but I'll read the verse and you hear it. So when you go to Sahih Muslim, this is what you are going to find. The Sahih Muslim, you click on it. So now I'm going to go to the category to look for the book where I can find the verse 3004. So now check out the screen. As you're watching, I'm scrolling down, and I go here. They call that book the Book of Zuhd and Softening Hearts. Okay, so I click. In the Book of Zuhd and Softening Hearts, so I scroll down. Now I'm going to look for 3004. So whilst I'm scrolling down, I'm going, now I almost there. So 3004, this is 3003, then I jump to 3004, and this is the verse, right? That's the verse in the Hadith book. Okay, so whilst you're looking to the screen, normally in the Hadith books, the translation, in Arabic version, some of the things that they trim it. They trim some of the things out, right? They trim it down. When they trim it, they leave the only portion they want you to know from the English. Then they translate it. So if you see here, Haddathana, Haddab, then Bunu Khalid. But when you come to the English, you only see Abu Zayd Khudir reported that Allah's messenger. So this is where they bring it. So I'm going to show you this an Abi Sa'id al-Khudri here. Then he says, and Rasulullah, then they say the sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as they keep saying, sending their salat to the Prophet when the salat is supposed to be only for God. Even the Prophet, his only salat was for God. Quran chapter 6, verse 162. Kul inna salati wa nusuki wa mahayaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alameen. He says, indeed, my salat, this is what the Prophet said. My salat, my life, my death, my rights, my everything is for God. But the mushriks, their salat, they share it for God and they share some to the Prophet. Yeah. Okay. So now he says, Qala, la taktubu anni waman kataba anni ghayra al-Qur'an falyamhuhu wa hadithu anni. Now, it says, do not write anything from me. The word la taktubu, it means do not write. But the translation, they say do not take down, right? Okay, no problem. Because if I tell you take something down, I'm telling you to take it off. The actual instance is la taktubu means do not write. The word kataba means write. So la taktubu, do not write. So do not write from me. This is what the Prophet said, according to the Hadith. La taktubu anni waman kataba anni gaira al-Quran falyamhuhu. Wahaddisu anni. So he says, do not write from me, right? Whoever writes anything from me except the Quran or other than the Quran. So automatically, what was the Prophet telling the people to write? The Quran, right? Only the Quran, nothing else. If there was something else, what should he have said? He would have said, write the Sunnah also. Yeah? He could have told them, and then write the Sunnah also. He never said that. So he says, do not write from me except the Quran. So the only thing, according to your Hadith books, the Sahih Muslim, that's the second prominent book they follow after Sahih Bukhari, right? The Prophet is saying, according to your own book, that do not write anything from me except the Quran. Whoever writes anything from me other than the Quran should wipe it out. Yamhu, efface it. Then he says, wahadithu anni. Now this is where the sectarians will come in to twist the words. Do not write is different from narrate. Now, if I say narrate something, narrate from me, what did the Prophet say narrate from me? So if you check the Hadith, the narration he says narrate, narrate from me, this statement he said, it means narrate it to the people. Tell the people, do not write anything from me. So if you are trying to justify that he says wa'adithu hanni means to narrate Hadith books, look at the foolishness. That means to narrate Hadith books. Then how come you have written Hadith books? So to narrate means to write? Is that what it means now? Who gave Imam Bukhari the permission to write those books? Who? Tell me. You tell me. Who? Has he met the Prophet before? The answer is no. So who gave him the right to write those books? Who? Tell me. And then they will say he saw a dream, and in the dream he saw the Prophet. I wonder, did he see a white prophet or black prophet? I wonder, just like the Christians, they say Paul saw Jesus in the dream. Did he see white Jesus or black Jesus? I wonder. Ask the sectarians that. Anytime you see a mushrik saying that, ask him, was it a white Muhammad he saw or black? If the Christians also say Paul saw Jesus, ask them, did he see that white one, the white man on the cross, or which one did he see? The black one? Was he Afro, or does he have Afro hair? How does he look? Ask. So now, according to your own Sahih Muslim book, the Prophet is saying, do not write anything from him except the Quran. So which means when he was alive, the book he gave authority to be written was the Quran. Because if you are telling me that he says, wahadithu anni, let's assume we agree. Wahadithu anni. Because even in Quran chapter 93, verse 11, فَأَمَّا بِنِيمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. Because God told him, even the favor he has done for him, the Prophet, he should narrate it. Does it mean he should write it? Hello? Does it mean وَأَمَّا بِنِيمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ? As for the favor of God upon you, or your Lord upon you, then narrate it. Talk about it. Does it mean he should write it down? Akhi. Does it mean he should write it down? So if the answer is no, then who gave you guys the permission to write the books you have? Okay, it doesn't stop there. Let's go more into the garbages to check something. The next hadith I'm going to quote is Sahih al-Bukhari 2740. So you go to sunnah.com again, Sahih al-Bukhari, then we go to 2740. So this is how you find it. We go to the column 27, then we go to 40 here. So we call it wills and testament. Wills and testament. So we are going to see which will. We call it wasiya. Wasiya means a will. So let's see which will did the Prophet leave for us according to their hadith. Me, I don't believe in those garbages, but I'm saying hypothetically, let's assume we are going to the trash to find something to recycle, right? So now, wills and testaments. In wills and testaments, we try to find 2,740. Here is the hadith. Do you see the hadith? Now on the screen, he says, here, he says, Hal kana nabiyyu, then they will say the sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as usual, like they are worshiping the Prophet always. Then he says, Awsa. Hal kana nabiyyu awsa. Hal is a question. Did the Prophet bequeath? When we say bequeath, to leave a will. Awsa. Then they says, Faqala la. La. He did not bequeath. Okay, if he did not bequeath, what did he bequeath then? What did he leave behind? Then he says, Faqultu kaifa kutiba ala nasi nasil wasiya. Then how is it that it has been decreed for the people to bequeath? They should leave something behind. Aw umiru bil wasiya. Or they should what? They have been commanded to leave a will, to bequeath. So now, the answer is Qala Awsa bil kitabillah. This is what the hadith is saying. Awsa bil kitabillah. Now let me read the English. It says, I asked Abdullah bin Abu Awfa, did the Prophet make a will? He replied, no. I asked him, how is it then that the making of a will has been enjoined on people? Then he replied, the Prophet bequeathed Allah's book, the book of God, i.e. Quran. Now, this is Sahih al-Bukhari, 2740. This goes to the mushriks, the Sunnis, the Hadithiyuns. Your own book is saying the only thing the Prophet left behind as a will is what? The Quran. When he was alive, he told nobody should write anything except the Quran. So when he was dying, the only thing he left for again is the what? The Quran. I'm not saying it. It's in your own books. If you are going to bring another hadith to contradict this, then that's your own palava source, not my palava. Because your book is full of contradiction. Today they will say the Prophet said this is haram. Tomorrow they say, oh, he say he's halal. Tomorrow they say and this is what they do. You know the Sunnis. And when they play the nasheed behind, you know. So let's go. So this is Sahih al-Bukhari. The first one I quoted was Sahih Muslim. So listen carefully. Thank you very much, Omzi. So now I'm going to quote their own hadith book again. Sahih. If they say I cannot read, let them come out. Correctional officer is waiting for you on TikTok. Bulala Nazaimuku. You, the mushriks, the Sunnis, and whatever you call yourself. Let me get you. You see. Okay. Now we go to the next hadith. Sahih al-Bukhari, 5669. Let's go and check. Did the Prophet leave any other book aside the Quran? Did he write anything for even them? The answer is no. So we are in Sahih Bukhari. This is how to search for it. You go sunnah.com, Sahih al-Bukhari, I click. When I click, I'm going to the book where we can find it, 5669. So let's go to the 5000 column. So we go here, 5669. So we click on the book of what? Medicine. And the book of medicine, when I click, oh, sorry, not book of medicine, sorry. We click on the book of here, 5669. That is the patience. Yes, on patience, then we go to 5669, right? Okay. So for those watching, kindly keep this thing crossed. I'm going to show you the hadith verse. So this is 5669. In this hadith, in this hadith, this is the narration here. They say when the Prophet was dying, let me show you the part. They say when the Prophet was on his deathbed, he told them to bring a paper for him to write something for them. Now, okay, let me read the English first, then you get the gist. When Allah's messenger was on his deathbed, in the house there were some people, among whom was Umar bin al-Khattab. The Prophet said, come, let me write for you a statement, after which you will not go astray. So meaning, regardless of him leaving the Quran for them, they will go astray. That's what the hadith is telling us. But now let's check. So then Prophet said he wanted to write something for them that it will not make them go astray, as if he is God. Okay. Now, Umar said the Prophet is seriously ill. So according to Umar, they shouldn't obey the Prophet because he's sick. Maybe he's talking out of sickness. So he says, and you have the Quran. So Umar was telling the people, you have the Quran, meaning the Quran is enough. So listen what he said. So the book of God is enough for us. This is Umar speaking in your own hadith book. Sahih al-Bukhari, 5669. So Umar says, the book of God is enough. Okay. So now, here, if I can give you, here, فقال عمر إن النبي قد غلب عليه وجع الوجع. Then he says وَإِنْدَكُمُ الْقُرْآنِ. Then he says حَسْبُنَا كِتَابُ اللَّهِ. So this is the place I'm highlighting. Check here on the screen. Here. This is Umar speaking. فَقَالَ عُمَرْ إِنَّ النَّبِيَّ. Then they will say the sallallahu alayhi wa sallam usually. That's the mushriks. قَدْ غَلَبَ عَلَيْهِ الْوَجَعُ. Then he says وَإِنْدَكُمُ الْقُرْآنِ حَسْبُنَا كِتَابُ اللَّهِ. So Umar was saying the book of God is enough. Quran is enough. I just quoted hadith for you. 2740. It says only the Prophet only left the book of God as the will for the believers. So Umar is saying when the Prophet was about to die, this is what he also said. The book of God is enough. Hasbuna kitabullah. This is your own books. These are your own books. Sunnis. Farid response. Please, if you hear this, respond. Please. Please, for the sake of God. If you watch this, please respond, Farid. فَقَالَ عُمَرْ إِنَّ النَّبِيَّ قَدْ غَلَبَ عَلَيْهِ الْوَجَعُ إِنْدَكُمُ الْقُرْآنِ حَسْبُنَا كِتَابُ اللَّهِ. Oh, Umar is a Quranist. Umar is Qurani. He's part of Quraniyun. Oh, Quraniyun. Quranist. This is what they tell us. So I guess Umar was a kafir because he didn't say the Sunnah was enough also. Hey, Mushrikanga. Hey. So Umar says the book of God is enough. We don't need any writing. Yeah. So even if the prophet's writing was rejected by the believers, how much more your garbage books? We don't need it. Put it to the trash. Is it by force? No, you tell me. Is it by force to take your garbage books? We say we don't need it. Quran is enough. Then you are angry doing fatwa against us, calling us kafirs. No, seriously. Believe it. Is it by force? To believe in your garbage books, is it by force? We don't need it to tone. We don't need it today. We don't need it tomorrow. You, if you like, call us Quranists. We will use your hadith to prove to you again. Your prophet says we should, the people of Quran, they are the people of paradise. I'm going to show you the hadith again. Ladies and gentlemen, don't joke with correctional officer, please. Let me go and show you again. So, let me finish with this hadith. Let's finish it. Moi, Nino. Now, this hadith 5669, Sahih al-Bukhari. In the end of it, this is what he says. Umar said, when they caused a hue and cry before the prophet, Allah's messenger told them, go away. So he sacked them in front of him. So meaning the Quran was enough. So he left the Quran for them. That's the book he left for them. So if the prophet, when he was alive, the only book, according to your own hadith books, you say, Khuluqu Quran. Was he a Quranist? Because you said his character, everything he did was based on the Quran. Was the prophet a Quranist? They will say, Akhi, no. Subhanallah, astaghfirullah. What are you saying? Subhanallah, Auzubillah. How can you say the prophet is a Quranist? Well, according to you guys, he only followed the Quran. What else did he follow? No, you tell us. Which book? Because if he followed another thing, how come he didn't bequeath that? He didn't leave that as a will for the believer. Hey, Sunnis. So according to your own hadith, he sacked them. Oh yeah, go away. You are disturbing me. I want to die in peace. Leave here. I'm not writing anything. Quran is okay. Go and take. That's what Hadith said. Not me. Oh, sorry. Let's go. So these people, they say, we the Ahlul Quran, we are kafirs, we are going to hell. Well, I'm going to use your own book to prove to you that the Prophet says the Ahlul Quran, they are the best people according to God. So let's go again. So now we go to sunnah.com again. Then we go to what we call Sunanan. Is it Sunan, right? We go to Sunanan Ibn Majah. So when you go to Sunan Ibn Majah, this is the book. Then you look for what? 215. So in 215, we call the book of Sunnah. The book of the Sunnah. So now we are going to enter into the book of the Sunnah. This is Sunan Ibn Majah. So the book of the Sunnah, then we go to 215. I'm going to show you something, ladies and gentlemen. Anticipate from their own books. Check something here. Here. This is their hadith books. And this hadith I'm going to quote is Hasan. Hasan means it is good. Classified. You know, the classification of the hadith books are done by their scholars. Right? They are the Sunni, their own scholars. So now, Anas bin Malik said, the messenger of God said, God has his own people among mankind. God has his own people among mankind. And who are they? Oh, what is this thing happening? Yes, God has his own people among mankind. They said, O messenger of God, who are they? He said, the people of the Quran, the people of God, Allah, and those are closest to him. So when the mushriks call you Ahlul Quran, please don't get angry. Let them call you Quraniyun. Let them call you Quranists. We call them Hadithiyun. Hadithiyun. When you check this verse, it never said the people of Hadith, the people of Hadithiyun, or the people of Sunnah. This verse from your own fabricated books. This is what it says. Let me quote the Hadith for you. Here. Qala Rasulullahi. Then they will put that sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the idol worship prison. Inna lillahi ahlina minal nas. Ahlina minal nas. Then he says, Qalu ya Rasulallahi man hum. Who are they? Man hum. Who are they? Qala hum alul Quran. It's sweet, Papa. Using your own book to whip you. But nothing sweet past that. Man whom? Who are they? Not Ahl Sunnah. Listen carefully. He didn't say Ahl Sunnah. No. Ahlul Quran. Hey, mushriks. You bleed, Papa. Let me drink water. I need more energy. So here, according to your own garbage book, we are recycling. Remember, we are recycling. Quran is enough for me, but I'm only recycling for the mushriks so that some of them who have common sense can reason with me and then live following that garbage. So the garbage is telling you that they asked the messenger, Qalu ya Rasulallahi. Man hum? Who are they? Who are the people of God? Then he says, Qala hum alul Quran. They are the people of the Quran. So if the people of the Quran, you are calling us Quraniyun, am I supposed to get offended? No. I don't call myself a Quranist. But am I supposed to get offended when you call me Quraniyun? Because that's the people of the Quran. You never heard the Sunni scholars talking about you? No, go back. Go and look for the scholars who are talking about the full people who follow the Quran. They will say the Quranists, the people of the Quran. But your hadith is tagging us as Ahlul Quran. No problem. We accept that, okay? We will take that. So now, I'm just coming from a book which is full of contradictions. Because right now, when you are talking to a Sunni, he will go and carry some jumbles of hadith again, trying to tell you, oh, look here, look here, look there, look there. That is what we call contradiction. What does contradiction mean? When we say contradiction, we are talking about the opposition between two conflicting forces or ideas. If you go to your own books to go and bring me conflicting opinions, then that is a contradiction. It's a waste of time. I will not waste my time with such a book. Number two, logic, a statement that is necessarily false. Because their book is false. It's a false book. Stop wasting your time if you think something makes sense. There is no sensible thing the hadith will say the Quran doesn't say better than that. So don't waste your time and say, oh, I think if some hadith makes sense, I agree. Oh, if that's hypocrisy. What do you mean if some hadith? A book they are imposing on you, claiming is part of Islam, you want to compromise. Hey, salam, prem and privilege. You're welcome. Okay, so when these people are calling you, oh, now you see, this is the stupidity of the hadithiyuns again. When we say verse, when we say the word verse, just because they're the hadithiyun don't call it a verse out of their foolishness, they don't know what a verse is. So let me help them out. Let me put it on the screen. Then they understand what a verse means. Whenever you have a book, you call it a scripture, and it is numbered. We call it, whatever you are reading is called a verse. That's what a verse means. But because you people, out of your foolishness, you don't call your book verse, doesn't mean somebody cannot call it verse. You see how they don't understand perspective? That's how dumb and foolish the sectarians, most of them, are. Education is key, but they lack it because they are slaves to the dead scholars. So let's check what a verse means. I'm going to put it on the screen. Let's teach the mushriks something they don't understand. They will say, oh, we don't call it a verse. Yeah, so it's not a verse. You see the foolishness? A correctional officer will teach you, no problem. No problem. Let's check what a verse means. Okay. Let me share it on the screen. Let's help some of the mushriks to understand what a verse means. Now, when we say a verse, literature in a metrical form is a verse. A line of metrical text is a verse. So when I shared the screen and I was showing you this, screen here. This is a line of a metrical text you see on the screen. That is what we call a verse. And this verse has a number. This is the number, 215. If you jump, you go to the next verse, it's 216. That's what we call a verse. But because some mushriks are so foolish and dumb, yet naive, and thinking inside the box, the scholars don't give them the chance to think outside the box. They say we don't call the hadith books, we don't call the passages you read in the hadith, we don't call it verses. Oh, Abba mushrik. So if you are so foolish, your brain also has to be gone useless. Please, if you are a foolish person, try to make your brain useful a bit. When we say a verse, we are talking about the metrical form that you are reading, the lines you read in your book. That's what we call a verse. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. When somebody is so dumb, you can't help them anymore. Yes, so let's go forward. Tell the mushriks I'll be doing correctional officer then. I'll be going on TikTok. If they have the balls, they should join me. I'll mess you up. Please tell the Sunnis, the mushriks, correctional officer will be on TikTok after this. In less than 1 hour, I'm ending this. So I'll be on TikTok. Tell them to join me. And let's see if they have the balls. We will see. Now let's go. Okay, so the reason why we are telling you the Quran is sufficient for us. Quran chapter 4 verse 82. This is what God tells us. Quran chapter 4 verse 82. And let me share the screen. In Quran chapter 4 verse 82, This is what God is telling us to do. He says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ وَلَوْ كَانَ مِنْ عِنْدِ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ لَوَجِدُوهُ فِي اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. Do they then not contemplate the Quran? And had it been from other than God, they would have found numerous contradictions therein. Or we can say discrepancies. Right? You can say contradiction or discrepancy. Now, so if the Quran, had the Quran not been from God, you will have found numerous discrepancies or contradictions. Which, in contrast, this is the things we find in Hadith books. Because it's not coming from God. So you find contradictions. You find discrepancies because this is what they have there. I'm serious. Nothing sensible there. Any sense you see there, Quran has already stated it. Before I went to the Hadith books, didn't I prove to you that the Quran was enough? That was what was given to the Prophet? Didn't I prove to you that? I proved to you before going to the Hadith. So the point of me going to the Hadith wasn't to tell you there is something tangible. No, I'm only quoting the Hadith books for the Hadith he used. That's their book. When you are arguing with somebody, jump into their book to quote references for them. This is how argument is done, because that is the person's book of authority. So you go into their book and quote the references to refute their argument. Do you get my point? If they want to counter your argument with another thing, that's what we call contradiction. Yes, it's conflicting ideas. How come you say here is blue and here is black? Hello? And if they have to explain, was it the Prophet who explained that book? The Hadith books. Because according to the sectarians, they say the Prophet is the explainer of the Quran. They say he's the mufassir of the Quran, meaning somebody who explains the Quran. But yet, a lot of issues you have to go to your tafasirs, Ibn Kathir, Ibn Abbas, Ibn Taymiyyah, Jalalain, Tabari, Al-Bagawi, As-Sad, and so on. Why? If the Prophet is the best mufassir, how come he never explained all those issues? Why do you need to go to Al-Bagawi to hear what he said? Why do you need to go to Qurtubi? Why? You see where common sense is not working in the man-made religions? And that is why they give themselves the slogans. And then they will tag us that we are kafirs because we don't believe in their garbage ideologies. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. So if a book is not coming from God, you will find there in numerous contradictions. Quran comes from God. I dare any sectarian. I dare any mushrik. I dare any pagan. You are watching me hop on and prove me wrong. Right? So there is no contradiction in the Quran. But in your Hadith books, they are full of contradictions because it's not from God. So how are you proud of a book God never gave you? So you mean the Prophet taught people those books? Hey, Hadithiyuns. Okay. So now, away with Farid's response. We are done with Farid's response. That's an answer to him, respectfully. You understand? Hopefully he gets to watch and he will make some sense out of it. But anyways, let's go with Jake Brancatella. Let's go and deal with Jake a bit. Jake, where are you? Let's deal with you, the mushrik metaphysician. Yeah, Jake is the mushrik metaphysician. He's not a Muslim, no. He's a mushrik metaphysician because he joined the Sunnis and he's Maliki. He says Maliki. Malikiya, you see. Okay, let's go. Where is Jake? Jake, where are you? Okay, his video. His first video, let's see what he was saying against somebody.
Killed.
We did answer.
I deserve to be killed because I left Islam and became a Christian.
According to Islamic law, an apostate like you would be killed. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And according to the Bible
let me. This is a fallacy.
And a blasphemer.
This is a fallacy.
Robert,
too cocky. Like you want to say you have it too. It's a fallacy.
No.
Let us discuss this because
why is it a fallacy?
It's a fallacy. Let me finish.
Please condemn Jesus.
Yeah.
Please.
Oh, you think you
condemn
should
Jesus?
Robert
already condemned him.
No,
you're lying.
Let me finish.
be on
Let me
record
finish.
saying you're lying
what
about
just
that.
Let me finish.
That's what happened.
You
You said eventually we realized you
You're lying.
Just let me finish. You
Let's hear
converted,
Brother
you,
Rashid, and then I'll come to you. Go for
you
it.
converted from Christianity to Islam. Your life is not under threat here in the U.S. I converted from Islam to Christianity. My life is under death.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, this brother used to be a Muslim and he became a Christian, right? Now he's having a dialogue or a debate with, is it Daniel Hakikachu, the guy with the Pokemon name or something. And then Hakikachu was partnering with the Mushrik metaphysician. That's the Jake Brancatella. So this Jake Brancatella, he was once a Christian, or he was born a Christian. Then he became a Muslim. So when he became a Muslim, he was following the Quran. Then he left the Quran. Then he started following the Sunnis, right? So now, according to him, he took up the Sunni extremist Salafiyah ideology, telling this guy that this guy has to be killed because he left Islam and became a Christian. Now listen, I'm going to show you what these people are about.
So I should be killed.
We did answer.
I deserve to be killed because I left Islam and became a Christian.
According to Islamic law, an apostate like you would be killed, yes.
Okay.
The guy is asking, so I should be killed because I left Islam. Then he said, according to Islam, that is Daniel Hakikachu, is saying, according to Islamic law, according to the sectarians, the first source of your faith, book of authority is Quran. According to sectarian, this is what you tell us. Then you said the second is your Sunnah, your fake book, your fake fabricated books. Okay, no problem. But first of all, let's go to the first source. Where in the Quran does it say that when somebody becomes an apostate who leaves Islam and become a Christian, or he who leaves Islam and becomes something else, he should be killed? No such verse in the Quran. It doesn't exist. No, there's no such verse. As a matter of fact, this is what you find in the Quran. Let me show you. When I take you to Quran chapter 5, verse 54, this is what God says. In Quran chapter 5, verse 54, let me put the verse on the screen. I put the verse on the screen. In Quran chapter 5, verse 54, God says, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, man yartadda. This word you see, yartadda, is a verb. And this verb, it is this verb, when they add that prefix, then they make it murtad. Murtad, according to the Arabic language, murtad is somebody who has left a particular state of a religion. You understand? So we call it apostate. Do you get my point? Apostate. So murtad. So God now is saying, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, man yartadda minkum an dinihi fasawfa yati Allahu biqawmi yuhibbuhum wa yuhibbunahu azillat alal mu'minin a'izzat alal kafirin. Then he says, yujahiduna fi sabilillahi wala yakhafuna lawmatal la'im. Then he says, Zalika fadlullahi yuti man yasha. Wallahu wasi'un alim. So it says, oh, you who believe, whoever among you should revert from his religion, then God will bring forth a people whom he will love, and they will love him. They will humble to the believers, mighty against the disbelievers. They will strive in the way of God and will not fear the blame of a critic. That is the favor of God. He gives it to whomever he wills, for God is encompassing and omniscient. In this verse, we didn't see where God says you should kill him. He never said whoever reverts from his religion, you should kill him. It doesn't, such a verse never exists in the Quran. So we the ones who you mushrik scholars are the Quran. or Quraniyun. We don't find such a verse. God never said we should kill somebody if he leaves Islam. No, Islam is it for your father? Islam belongs to God. Quran chapter 3 verse 19. Inna dina inna Allahi Islam. Islam is for God. So if somebody has to kill this entity, who has to kill him? Is it not God? Who gave you that authority to kill somebody for leaving Islam? Is Islam for your father? Oh, no wonder you created a parallel religion. So it is the parallel religion, you have a new law. And you are using those laws, calling it Sharia law. Dummies. You are using this law to kill innocent people. Now you said somebody who leaves Islam according to Islamic law. According to Islamic what? No wonder you have the name Hakikachu. Look at his name. It sounds like a curse. Hakikachu, 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 Hakikachu. I can actually use it to do rap song. Hakikachu, Hakikachu. You are telling the man that according to Islamic law, which Islamic law? Look at this miscreant. Look, Quran chapter 45 verse 18. Let me put it on the screen. Quran chapter 45 verse 18. Listen to the law God asks us to follow. He says, Thumma ja'alnaka. He's telling the prophet, Thumma ja'alnaka ala shari'atin min al-amr fattabiha. Then he says, Wala tattabi ahwa allazina la ya'lamun. Then we appointed you, Muhammad, with or upon or by laws. Shari'atin. The law God gave him is all found in the Quran. God gave Muhammad laws and judgments. All are found in the Quran. Anything you don't find in the Quran is rest up to you to decide. If you are a nation, you decide what is left. I'm serious. The laws God wants you to deal with, if it has to do with religion, if it's found in the Quran. If it is not in the Quran, it's not part of religion. Do you get my point? Quran chapter 4 verse 58. God says we should judge between the people with justice. That is what God exhorts from you. So even if you have to use a law which is not from the Quran or which is not found in the Quran, it has to be just. I'm serious. It has to be just. So now let's use this justice. Quran chapter 4 verse 58. This justice, let's use it against this guy, Jake Brancatella. I'm going to show you something. Let's go back. So Jake Brancatella, you are telling the man that they should kill him because he left Islam. Is that so? Hey, Jake, the mushrik metaphysician. I know you are scared of me. Don't worry. I'll get you at the right day. Okay. Mushrik metaphysician. Whatever you call yourself. Check your contradiction here.
And according
Okay,
to the Bible as well.
let me. This is a fallacy.
blasphemer.
This is a fallacy.
Jake Brancatella was telling this guy who is an apostate, according to them. According to Jake, he says, according to the Bible also, they have to kill somebody who leaves his faith. Okay, you can find it in Leviticus, Exodus, but the Christians, they don't use much of the Old Testament. They rely on New Testament, right? Okay. So now, let's take this case. So Jake Brancatella, you are telling this guy, Rashid, that according to the Bible, he has to be killed. But Jake, you were once a Christian. You left Christianity and you became a Muslim. And you were based in the United States of America. Who killed you? Huh? Jake, who killed you? For God's sake, who? You are foolishly sitting on the podium telling people that they have to kill him because he left Islam, according to Islamic what Islamic law? And when I'm talking with aggression against people like you, people think I'm just being rude or aggressive, but they don't know the magnitude of the hatred you people are causing for the real Islam. Now, you are telling this guy, according to Islamic law, he has to be killed. I dare you, prove to us from the book of God. That is the Furqan God gave us. That is the book of judgment God gave to the prophet. Quran chapter 13 verse 37. That is the judgment God gave to the prophet. So Quran chapter 45 verse 18. That is the Sharia God gave to the prophet. Do you get the point? So if Jake, you are saying that this guy has to be killed because he left Islam, Jake, who killed you when you left Christianity? If you say we can find that according to the Bible, who killed you in America? Did somebody try to kill you? Hey, you. So automatically you have become as an extremist, Sunni. And that's why I call him mushrik metaphysician. You are not a Muslim. I'm serious.
Robert,
Too cocky. Like you want to say you have it too. It's a fallacy.
No.
Let us discuss this because
Why is it a fallacy?
It's a fallacy.
It's
let me.
It is a fallacy, yes. Islam doesn't teach that. It's not in the Quran. God never asked you to kill anybody. Quran chapter 2, verse 256, God says, La ikra fi din. There is no compulsion in the deen. Quran chapter 10, verse 99, God was cautioning the prophet. Are you going to force the people to believe, to become believers? Why will you force people? Somebody says, I don't want to be a Muslim. That is their own palaver source. What is your issue? No, what is your issue? Is it by force to be a Muslim? No, is it by force? Do you know where these mushriks get this ideology? Do you know where they get it? Okay, let me take you to the garbage book again. Let me show you where they got this apostate law. I'm taking you to the garbage book. Let's go. So we go to the garbage book. Let me show you something. We go to their garbage book, sunnah.com again. I'm going to prove to you how you find this, where they get this kind of garbage laws. The mushriks, this is all they can resort to, violence. They have nothing in the head. They cannot argue logically. I will show you. You think Jake is a logical person? I will show you the mess up he has in the head. So far as you are a sectarian, oh, no logic will come from you again. So let's go and check. Somebody is saying, why is Jake dressed like an Al-Azhar? He is. All of a sudden, he became an extremist version of an Arab. So Jake is an Arab now. Okay, so we go to their Hadith book. I'm going to show you something. We go to Sahih al-Bukhari 3017. So I choose Sahih al-Bukhari. Then we look for the book where it has 3017. So I'm taking you to this book here. Sahih al-Bukhari, we go to fighting for the cause of God. Fighting for the cause of God. Sahih al-Bukhari. Right? So let's go to that. Yes, hello, Melissa. So fighting for the cause of God, this is what their own book will say. So we go to 3017. I'm going to show you how to find the Hadith books, their verses in their own books. So let's go and find 3017. 3017, where are you? 3017, 3000. Let's go. Oh, I missed it. 3017 should be up here somewhere. There. Yeah, I'm almost there. So 3017. Yeah, here. I found it. According to them, they said the prophet said, here, it says, Qala an-Nabiyyu, here. Qala an-Nabiyyu sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, just like they always say, Man baddala dinahu, faqtuluhu. He says, whoever exchange his religion, whoever substitutes or changes his religion, kill him. Look at what their book is teaching you. Whoever changes his religion, kill him. This is what the book of Bukhari, the garbage book I'm telling you about, this is what he's telling them. Look, if you have any person next to you and he's an extremist and he's following Hadith books, be careful. And I'm warning you from Europe, allowing such people with this ideology entering Europe. Your days are numbered. If you allow this kind of people, these vagabonds, entering Europe with this mindset, their book Sahih al-Bukhari 3017, telling you the Prophet said that whoever substitutes his religion or changes his religion, kill him. Mind you, the people you are allowing into your countries. I'm serious. These people, they venerate this book more than the Quran. I'm serious. They are mafias. Somebody said sectarian mafias. Wallahi. They are mafias. This is the same book which makes them become pedophiles. They are marrying your 6-year-old girl. So my daughter is turning 8. I can find a gun already. It's Finland. I can get a gun anytime. So you don't try. Guys, if you are next to this Hadith, you people find a gun or buy a gun. Keep it next to you. If you have any 6 years, 7 years girl, beware. Because this is where they get their ideologies. You don't find this ideology in the Quran. God bear me witness. You will never find these ideologies in the Quran. You find it in these books. Okay. So Sahih al-Bukhari 3017 is telling you, قال النبي من بدل دينه فاقتلوه. Whoever changes his religion, kill him. This is what this garbage book is telling you. And you are allowing these people to enter your countries. You don't know, eh? And what the pity side of it is, Britain, you are trying to allow, you say these people, you want to give them chance to bring Sharia what? You want to allow these people to bring Sharia what? Sharia what? These people, they will kill all of you if you don't pay attention. You want to allow them with this kind of books into UK. Oh, you don't wake up. I said, don't wake up. Sit there and don't wake up. You allow these people into Europe.
Finish. Let me finish.
Please condemn Jesus.
Yeah.
Please.
Oh, you think you
Condemn
should?
Jesus.
Robert
Already condemned him. So
No, you're lying.
Let me
Let's
finish.
be on
Let me
record
finish.
saying you're lying
Let,
about that.
let me finish.
That's what happened.
You
You said eventually we realized you
you're
lying.
Just let me finish. You
Let's hear
converted.
Brother Rashid, and then I'll come to you. Go for it.
You converted from Christianity to Islam. Your life is not under threat here in the U.S. I converted from Islam to Christianity. My life is under death. So I should.
So you see, the man converted from Islam to Christianity. He's not a threat in America. Nobody wants to kill him. Jake Brancatella, you converted from Christianity to Islam. Nobody killed you. Nobody, as a matter of fact, nobody threatened your life. You are still an American. But at the moment you became a mushrik metaphysician, look at where you are sitting. PBD podcast. You are quoting your hadith books, telling the guy that since he became, he left Islam and became a Christian, he's an apostate and he has to be killed according to what? Islamic what? Islamic what? Who bore you by mistake? Let's laugh a bit. I'm going to put a video of Jake. Let's laugh a bit. Jake, let's watch your video. This video is very funny. Let's watch this.
Form.
Define what you mean by physical.
The body parts that are listed.
We don't believe God has body parts, no.
Well, you believe he has a foot, right?
We believe, yes. We do believe he has a foot. We believe his hand.
What is a foot that's nothing like a created foot?
What is a foot that's nothing like a created foot?
Right.
The same thing that an essence is that's nothing like a created essence.
Yeah, but our argument is not based on analogy for essence.
Jake, if Allah's hand is something that grabs, what is Allah's shin?
This is just ridiculous questions. And anyway, 30
Well,
minutes.
he thinks they're ridiculous because they don't want to deal with these.
No, I've answered. How many times have I answered questions about Allah's hand, Allah's foot? Every single time.
Because
about
the meaning, it doesn't tell us
answered.
anything.
It does. It does. I've explained the meaning several times over and over.
Everybody focuses on this because your explanations are terrible. That's why they focus on it, Jake.
see how the sectarians become a laughing stock out there. So when people think about these Sunnis and so, they think we are like them. I'm serious. We are not nowhere closer to them. We are not like them. We are not Sunnis. We are not part of people who follow this kind of comedy books, Harry Potter books. I'm serious. Those Harry Potter books followers, be careful of them. I'm serious. So let's listen to Jake, the Mushrik metaphysician.
Does God have a physical form?
They ask you a simple question. He's an American. Listen carefully. An American. So he's supposed to understand English. So he's being asked, does God has a physical form? Listen to the answer he gave.
Define what you mean by physical.
So define what you mean by physical.
The body parts that are listed.
The body parts that are listed. The anatomy, right? Okay.
We don't believe God has body parts.
Now, Jake went ahead to say, we don't believe God has a body part. Because if you take Quran chapter 112, verse 4, God says, وَلَمْ يَكُلْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٍ. God has none compared to him. He has no equals, right? Okay. But now, Jake is saying God does not have physical form and he doesn't have body parts, right? Now, so listen.
Well, you believe he has a foot, right?
Then now the guy asked him, you believe he has a foot, right?
We believe, yes, we do.
Then Jake says, yes. How? No, how? Look. Where is Antibro? How? No, let it make sense to me. Jake, what are you doing? No, serious, what are you doing? What is that? Jake.
You believe he has a...
Do you know why he's saying he believes? Because the hadiths are saying all these things. Yeah, he believes he has a foot. Okay.
Foot, we believe his hand.
What is a foot?
He believes he has the hand, the foot, yes, because the hadiths mention the foot of God. Okay.
But that's nothing like a created foot.
What is a foot that is nothing like a created foot? So he has to explain. Now listen.
What is a foot that's nothing like a created foot?
Now, whenever somebody repeats your question, always read the body language. When you ask somebody a question and they are repeating your question to you, they are processing how to lie. So listen to the question.
We believe his hand.
What is a foot that's nothing like a created foot?
What is a foot that is nothing like a created foot? Now he's going to repeat the question.
What is a foot that's nothing like a created foot?
Jake, what is this? You see, ever since you became a mushrik, do you see how you're struggling? Now listen.
Right. The same thing that an essence is that's nothing like a created essence.
Yeah.
What? Look at the statement you are saying. Essence is, that is not. Are you comparing essence to something you said is physical? You're comparing essence to something you said is physical. You said God has a foot. This is English, man. From America.
Yeah, but our argument is not based on analogy for essence.
Jake, if Allah's hand is something that grabs, what is Allah's shin?
This is just ridiculous questions.
Now he's been asked a question. He says this is a ridiculous question. How is it ridiculous? Based on your faith, your belief. You said God has a foot. The sectarians, their hadith books translate that the shin mentioned in Quran chapter 68 is the shin of God. The Quran never said God has a shin, or never does it say shin of God. But the sectarians, their tafasirs, explain it to be the shin of God. Now, Jake, you are being asked about the leg of God, the foot of God, the shin of God. You are saying they are asking you ridiculous questions. He was under pressure. I can understand. They have to respite him. He was under pressure.
And anyway, 30
Well,
minutes.
he thinks they're ridiculous because they don't want to deal with these.
Yes, they are ridiculous because you don't want to deal with it, because they are in your garbage books.
No, I've answered. How many times have I answered questions about Allah's hand, Allah's foot? Every single time.
Because
about
the meaning, it doesn't tell us anything.
It does. It does. I've explained the meaning several times over and over.
Everybody focuses on this because your explanations are terrible. That's why they focus on it, Jake.
Mushrik metaphysician. Hey! Hey, this more than comedians. I'm serious. Ever since this guy joined the Sunnis, he became like a comedian. I'm serious. Hey. Hey. Oh no. Sectarians. Adam Harris, thank you for the gifts. I appreciate that. Thank you on YouTube. I appreciate that. So let me see if I can play some of their few videos before. I have a video to talk about, right? Concerning something which transpired in Pakistan. Let me talk about that video before we end the program, right? It's very important. My attention was called to this. Quran chapter 6 verse 111, it tells you most of the people are ignorant. Most of them are ignorant. Most of the people are ignorant, right? So ignorance is bliss, and people who love ignorance are fools. The moment people love ignorance, they become foolish and they act foolish. Now, something happened in Pakistan. I saw a video. First of all, let me play that video. Let me see where I saved the video. I saw this video. This one.
हम लोग इधर ईएसपी के तौर पे सर्व कर रहे हैं, किसी को कोई शिकायत नहीं आई। इस तरह के वाकयात हमने 3 पूरे निभाए हैं। आप लोग को हम पे पूरा ट्रस्ट होना चाहिए।
This is a video according to the Punjabi police of Pakistan. This lady was wearing a shirt with Arabic calligraphy on it, right? In Arabic language, a calligraphy of Arabic language on her shirt. So nobody, like, we are not absolutely aware what was written, but it's just in Arabic language. And according to these people, it's a blasphemy for you to wear a shirt with Arabic initials, something on it. So this lady who was wearing this shirt has Arabic written. And remember, Arabic language was already there before the Quran came. Arabic language was already there before Prophet Muhammad was born. You understand? So Arabic language can be used to write anything. It doesn't mean since you see somebody writing Arabic, that means automatically it has to do with the Quran or Islam. No. Do you get it? So in Saudi Arabia, there are Christians who are Arabs. Even in United Arab Emirates, we have Arabs who are Christians. You go to Yemen, you go to the countries. There are Christians, Arabs who are Christians, right? Even in Iraq. So if you are going to say because somebody is wearing a shirt and it is written, it has Arabic letters or words written on it, and automatically it's a blasphemy, and they nearly killed the lady. This happened in the Punjab, this thing. And I took this from the police on the Twitter page. I'm serious. Somebody shared the link to me. Now, do you see how ignorance is bliss? And this is the level of ignorance people can use to kill you for free. I'm serious. They will kill you without knowing anything. That's why God says, if you obey most of those on earth, they will mislead you from the way of God. Yo, Ninu, se ei voi olla totta, että tämä asia, että suomalaiset niinku ottaa sen mukaan. Ei voi olla. Koska sharia ei kuulu täällä Suomeen. Se ei ole hyvä idea. Aha, so this is the kind of people with this kind of mindset. You are going to bring people, not all of them, but I'm talking about people who are ignorant, who don't know about what God says. They only follow what they found their scholars or their whatever mainstream telling them without verifying. They will kill you out of ignorance. I'm serious. The lady nearly lost her life, even though the police came, but they were even trying to attack the police. Yes, because the police was just a small group of police. And it is a woman police who actually saved the lady. They would have killed her. Poto, 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 poto. And this is dangerous. Ignorance is indeed bliss. And so they say. Now, the next video I'm going to play is also from Pakistan. And I'm going to show you there's something they call honor killing. Honor killing. This honor killing is done when somebody wants his daughter to go for marriage and she refuses. If she refuses, yeah, no problem. No. If she refuses, the parents can kill her. And they call it honor something. Honor killing. The moment they want her to go and marry and she refuses, the parents sometimes will kill her. They will beat her till she dies. So that's the next video I'm going to play and see what actually transpired. The lady was being beaten up and nobody was helping her. Seriously? Nobody was helping her. And these are things you don't find in the Quran. They are not laws coming from the Quran. This is the problem I have with the mainstream audience when they think these things are instructed by the Quran. Now check this video. Oh my God. If you have anybody coming from the Middle East, especially Pakistan, you can ask them if this is fake. It's true. It happens. They call him honor. They call it honor killing. I'm not saying all of them do that, but I'm talking about the ignorant ones in those places. They will do worse than that. I'm serious. The man and the family were beating up the lady and nobody was helping. They are just watching. There was only one guy who was trying to avoid, but you can't. Nobody will interfere. They call it honor killing. And the Quran talks against these kind of things. And let's check. It is sad, but what can you do? So let's go to the Quran and see what the Quran says concerning these kind of things. So we go to Quran chapter 6, verse 137. And I put it on the screen and let's see. I'm almost bringing the topic to an end before I go to TikTok. But let's see what the Quran says. In Quran chapter 6, verse 137, it says, and likewise is it adorned to many of the polytheists, that is the mushriks, their idols, killing their children in order to revert them and confuse them in their religion. And if God had willed, they will not have done it. So leave them and what they fabricate. It's a fabrication. It's not part of Islam. They leave the Quran aside. They take these laws and legislations from other sources and implement them to their own lives. And this is the dangers involved when it comes to this kind of matters. But people don't pay attention, so they think it's a joke. And likewise, is it done to many of the polities, the mushriks, their idols, they are what? The shuraka'u, their idols, their associates, killing their children in order to revert them and confuse them in their religion. These idols, they are shuyuks that they take as their idols, who give them legislation. Quran chapter 42, verse 21. Am lahum shuraka'u shara'u lahum min ad-din ma lam yazanu bi illah. Or do they have associates, which is the idols, who legislate for them of a religion to which God has not authorized? Do you see? So now, in such religions, they will take the laws that their idols have given them. The idols will tell them, if your daughter refuses this marriage, kill her. They will do it. Yes, they get these laws from their scholars. Yes. So now what happens? Their associates killing their children in order to revert them and confuse them in their religion. Because this is not the religion of God. It is their religion. And if God had willed, they would not have done it. So leave them and what they. So you try to avoid such religions. Try to avoid such legislations. They are not part of Islam. Beware of that. It's not part of Islam. Again, chapter 6, verse 140. Those who killed their children foolishly, without knowledge, and forbade what God has provided for them, have lost for fabricating about God. Those who killed their children foolishly, safaha, without knowledge, because if you have knowledge of what God says, you wouldn't do this, and forbade what God has provided for them. God has provided a beautiful daughter to you. You are forbidding yourself by killing your daughter. You kill your children because you are forcing them to a particular marriage they don't want to go. Is it by force? No, marriage, is it by force? What did God say in Quran chapter 24, verse 33? You do not have to force your daughters to what? Prostitutions. It's like prostitution because you are forcing her to go and do something she doesn't want to do. Then God says they have strayed, so they have not been guided. Those people who are killing their children because they refuse to go and marry or something, you are killing them because your idols told you to do that. That's totally wrong. That's not acceptable at all. And that is not from God. God never asked anybody to do such a foolish act. You understand? So Quran chapter 6, verse 111, most of the people are ignorant. Most of the people. So be careful. Wherever you are, you find a lot of ignorant people. Try to leave that place. Find place which have people with common sense, people with logic, people who understand humanity, people who give value to a human life. Look for such people. Yes. Don't be in places who hate you for being you. I'm serious. The last thing I'm talking about is somebody says, what is Shab Ibarat? In the month of Shaban, they celebrate something. It specifically refers to the night between the first and second halves of the 8th lunar month of the Hijr calendar. That is Shaban. So they use the Shaban month, and normally they say it happens in the 15th or which day of Shaban. And then they say that is the day when you ask for forgiveness, you call on God, all your prayers will be answered. These are things you don't find in the Quran. You find it with the Alul Hadith. These people of the Hadith use. That's where you find those things. Those things are not found in the Quran. If you are a Muslim, you are following the Quran and you're practicing this, refrain. This is idol worship. It has nothing to do with what God commanded. Right? You believe in such garbage narrations, you are in trouble. Quran chapter 6, let me show you something. Quran chapter 6, verse 121. If you go and obey the mushriks, you are also a mushrik, according to God. If you obey the mushriks in anything, you are also a mushrik. The verse says, and do not eat from that upon which the name of God has not been mentioned. For indeed it is immoral. And indeed, the devils will inspire to their allies to argue with you. And if you obey them, you will indeed become mushriks, mushrikun, that is idolaters, polytheists. Whenever you obey the mushriks, you are also a mushrik. Yes, so bear in mind, right? It is the devil inspiring them to whatever they are following. So if you obey them, you are one of them. So I pity those who say, oh, I can agree with some hadith books. You are also one of them. You are a mushrik. No, babashuaib will tell you. I'm not scared of you. I'll tell you to your face. You are a mushrik, yes. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the topic for today. The Sunnis call us Quranists. And I've proven the point to you. You can trim the video, take every part you want, share it to the mushriks, let them see. Calling us the Quranists, they are making a big mistake because they are mocking themselves. If they say we are the people of the Quran, so we are kafirs, well, they are going against their own books. Because your own book says that it was only the Quran the Prophet left for us. So why blame us when you should blame your own books? Do you get my point? A word to a wise is enough. So ladies and gentlemen, this is babashuaib bringing the topic for today to an end. It's 2 hours now. If I stay for so long, I will spoil it. So let's leave it as it is. It has been fun, energetic, and enjoyable. Salam, brother Zaid. Salam, I see you watching. So enjoy it for now. And I'm bringing it to an end so you can rewatch the replay on YouTube and Facebook. I have it there. You can rewatch it. So this is where I bring the topic on Facebook and YouTube to an end, right? And also Instagram to an end, because I was streaming live from Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and then TikTok. So now all the 3 live streams, I'm bringing it to an end, right? My next live stream will be next Wednesday, God willing. I normally do it Wednesday nights into Thursday. Wednesday nights into Thursday. So catch me every Wednesday. That is the time I have for now. I wish my kids will allow me to be doing more programs, but sometimes they don't agree, right? So they accept the Wednesday for now. So let's stick to Wednesday. But however, I'm trying to draft a time for the Thursday lessons. The Thursday lessons are only going to be private lessons for a particular group, where I'll be teaching you about the syllabus, and then also the how to have a discussion with the sectarians and so on. So we'll be going into that, right? And then anticipate for some of my videos that I've edited that I'll be sharing along the week, God willing. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. For those on Facebook and YouTube, I see you, Imran Khan. Yeah, Baba Sedunagodi, I see you. Rishi Green, I'm going to TikTok. Join me there. Sister Amina, I see you. Nara Power, Innocent Big Waterfall. Sharif Karim, I see you, brother. Salam. Yes, brother Kam K. Kamal, I see you. Balogun. Abdul Samad, I see you. Abdul Samad, yes, thank you very much. Love you too, bro. Rapstar, Mazlan Osman, Fatima Chin, Tariq Ayub, Faisal Hussein, yes, Mubarak Abdullah. Yes, I see you all. Yes, I see you all. Thank you all. Thank you all for being present. Abdul Majid, I see you. Yes, I appreciate your presence. I appreciate the support. God bless you all for being around, and it keeps me going. That is my motivation. God bless you all. So this is where I bring the topic to an end on Facebook and YouTube. God bless you all. Till we meet again. Peace to you all. Inshallah. We meet next week. See you.